draft pick, the 55th to be exact. A pick that most years is a complete afterthought, a footnote. But this pick wasn't a footnote, it was a fault line, a single selection that just changed the NBA forever. And it has almost nothing to do with points per game. This is the story of how Bronny James, a player whose stats don't exactly scream superstar, found himself at the center of a billion-dollar controversy that challenges the very idea of merit in pro sports. It's a story about a legendary name, a lifelong dream, and a terrifying moment when the game of basketball almost didn't matter at all. This isn't the story the league wants you to hear. This is the story of how the league's most celebrated legacy became its most complicated problem. On June 27th, 2024, the Los Angeles Lakers selected Bronny James with the 55th pick in the NBA draft. On the surface, it was a Hollywood moment, creating the first ever active father-son duo in league history. But just beneath the feel-good headlines, a much different story was brewing. A story of manipulation, of back-channel pressure, and of a system bending to the will of one man. The question echoing from front offices to fan forums was deafening. Was this a real basketball decision, or was it the boldest power play in modern sports history?
And I'll tell you this too, a lot of noise is going to be made about the power that LeBron James wields.
To get the whole picture, you have to understand that there are two versions of Bronny James. First, there's the prodigy, the son of the king, who's been famous since he was a kid. He was a 4-star recruit, a McDonald's All-American, and a social media phenom with millions of followers before he ever played a minute of college ball. He even made the USA team for the Nike Hoop Summit. This is the Bronny James you see in the highlight reels, the kid with the golden name and unlimited potential. Then there's the other Bronny James, the one you find in the box scores. In his one and very interrupted season at USC, he averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. Look, those aren't terrible numbers, but they're not the kind of stats that usually get you a guaranteed ticket to the most elite basketball league on earth. Most scouts and analysts agreed that his game, while showing flashes of promise, needed at least another year in college.
He wasn't even the best player on USC. It was guys better than him that did not get drafted from USC.
As one NBA scout put it, he's solid, not spectacular. And that's the fundamental problem here. On one hand, you've got a player with a high basketball IQ and real defensive potential. On the other hand, his college stats were just okay, and he wasn't even a full-time starter on his own team. The gap between the hype and the reality is massive. It all leads to the one uncomfortable question the Lakers don't want to answer. If his last name wasn't James, would he have even been drafted? Most insiders will tell you off the record, the answer is a hard no.
If he were not LeBron James' son, in all likelihood, he would not have even been drafted. If he were not LeBron James' son, he would not be in this position.
But Bronny's journey to the NBA is so much more complicated than a simple debate over stats. Because on July 24th, 2023, none of that mattered. During a routine practice at USC, Bronny James collapsed. He suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. He was rushed to the hospital, thankfully conscious and stable, but the basketball world held its breath. After 3 days, he was sent home. His family later announced the cause, a treatable congenital heart defect. The incident was a terrifying reminder that under all the pressure and all the hype, Bronny was still just a teenager. His father, LeBron James, a man who has seemed superhuman for 2 decades, was suddenly just a scared parent. The family talked about the emotional toll and their gratitude that he had survived. Bronny called the whole thing a total reset. In an interview, he was brutally honest about his new life. "My days aren't normal anymore," he admitted. "I still feel like I'm getting back to where I was." His new routine was a grueling private battle, filled with breathing exercises and heart medication, all happening far from the roar of any crowd. And yet, despite everything, LeBron said his son's first question was always the same: when could he get back on the court? That part of his story shows a kind of fight that stats can't possibly measure. He faced a life-threatening event and battled his way back. That determination is real, but in the cynical world of pro sports, even this deeply personal struggle would soon get tangled up in the much bigger controversy of his career. This story is about more than just one player. It's about the machinery of modern sports, where narratives are built and legacies are, well, sometimes they're bought. If you believe sports are more than just what happens on the court, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Once Bronny was cleared to play again, the conversation snapped right back from his health to his draft stock.
I don't trust my eyes when it comes to evaluating 19-year-olds, Molly.
And this is where things get really messy. As the 2024 draft got closer, whispers started turning into reports.
But you can also, as an agent, especially a powerful one, you can sometimes dictate terms. Of course, yeah.
The rumor was that LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, was actively warning other teams not to draft Bronny. The message was simple. If you pick him, you won't be able to sign him. Former Warriors GM Bob Myers even claimed Paul threatened that Bronny would go play in Australia before he'd sign with any team but the Lakers.
He's telling him, do not take him, okay? Saying, don't take him. You take him, he's going to Australia. So he has a plan and he has a place.
This wasn't about finding the right fit for a young player. This felt like a full-on campaign to deliver Bronny to one team and one team only, the Los Angeles Lakers. It reeked of nepotism, a word that makes the league office sweat. Veteran sports columnist Bill Plash called the whole thing a costly move towards chaos, wondering if it was fair to put a son on the same bench as his legendary father just to fulfill a dream. But why go through all this trouble for the 55th pick? The answer has almost nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with business. The second Bronny James put on a Lakers hat, he became a marketing machine. The story of the first ever father-son duo is a gold mine the NBA can sell for years. It means guaranteed media, jersey sales through the roof, and wild fan engagement. As one analyst pointed out, Bronny's presence alone could pack G League arenas, which is where he'll likely spend a lot of his time developing. This is how Bronny James broke the NBA. He revealed an awkward new truth where a player's marketing potential might just be more important than his on-court readiness. His selection wasn't just a draft pick, it was a business strategy. It was a move to please a superstar, lock in his future with the franchise, and create a marketing bonanza. In doing so, the Lakers and the league sent a pretty clear message. Some legacies are just too big to fail. When draft night finally came, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. As the picks rolled by deep into the second round, the inevitable felt closer and closer. Then with the 55th pick, the commissioner made the announcement. The Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James.
Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
The reaction was a firestorm. On one side, people called it one of the coolest sports stories ever. It was the fulfillment of LeBron's dream to share an NBA court with his son. It was a picture-perfect Hollywood moment for the James family. But on the other side, the backlash was fast and furious. Former NBA player Kwame Brown called the pick a travesty. Others called it a straight-up abuse of power by LeBron and Rich Paul, noting that second-round picks almost never get the kind of multi-year guaranteed contract Bronny received. The word nepotism was everywhere.
So is the story of Bronny James going to the Lakers simply nepotism and we should get over it?
Stephen A. Smith argued that while family connections are nothing new in sports, Bronny now faces a level of scrutiny he has to justify on the court.
Inevitably is going to invite the level of scrutiny that Doggy has pointed out. Doggy is right on the money in terms of what a lot of people throughout America are feeling.
That pick put Bronny under a microscope more intense than any late-round pick in NBA history. Every practice, every minute, every shot will be analyzed. Not just for a rookie finding his way, but through the lens of this whole controversy. He now has to carry the weight of justifying a decision that many believe wasn't about him earning it at all. So did Bronny James break the NBA? Not by shattering records, but by shattering an illusion. The illusion that the league is a pure meritocracy. His path to the Lakers shows the incredible power of a brand, the gravity of a superstar, and the undeniable pull of a father's dream. He's become the ultimate test case for a league that's constantly wrestling with celebrity, media, and money. Bronny's story isn't a simple one. He's a young guy who survived a major health scare, who clearly loves the game, and who has handled all this pressure with a quiet dignity. But his story is also about a system that was bent to create a historic and incredibly profitable outcome. Whether he becomes a solid role player or disappears from the league in a few years, his legacy is already set. He's the draft pick that made everyone face an uncomfortable truth about the modern NBA. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't a crossover or slam dunk, but a story. And the story of Bronny James, for better or worse, has already changed the game.